And I just wanted to say that I researched Punta Gorda for 5 years before I built a house here. I came here every year and I would rent a condo, I would rent a house, I would ride the bikes that they provided free to me, and I met so many nice people. I could not build a house here. I had to be part of Punta Gorda.
Got it.
What concerns me is that we're all here and now there's something like this is going to divide our city. That concerns me. I'd really like us to think that the city council who represents us, and that's another thing I did before I came here, I researched the city council because we have such a great website. You can read all about Punta Gorda and all the things that they do here. So I'd really hate to see us think that the city council is not going to be able to handle this and make the best decision for the city of Punta Gorda. Let's have faith in the city council. Let's just make sure that we provide enough information to them so that they can make the right decision. Let's not blame it on someone else. Let's be part of the solution and not part of the problem. The other thing I'd like to share is that we've all had long lives and we're going to have longer lives, and you know that things happen to you in your life along your journey, and you're in different places at different times. Right now, we're in Punta Gorda, and this is happening to us. Some of us like it, some of us don't like it. But I think, again, we need to leave it up to the city council to see if this is best for Punta Gorda or not, because it is for the citizens of Punta Gorda that this is being done and no one else. Maybe not everyone's going to benefit, but it's going to improve the city of Punta Gorda. So I ask that you have faith in your city council, you provide enough information to help them be able to make an educated decision, and then once this is done, whether it happens or doesn't happen, we stick together and we support the decision as a Punta Gorda city decision. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Wayne Stesky. I represent myself and my wife. A couple of clarifications I'd like to make. One, I live in Clipper Cove Village. We have 56 slips and 96 condos, so not every condo has a boat slip. I totally support this. I'll tell you what I think of boating. I have a pontoon boat. Where I bought it, the person told me he's never seen so many hours on a pontoon boat. I think the rest of the boats, you buy a boat, you work on it, you drink on it, you never move it. I would suggest let's get down to data. Let's see how many boats are out on those canals. A bunch of us go through the cut, Poacher's Cut, to get to Alligator Creek. Mind you, we have to look at the tides, but all of those boats are already going through Alligator Creek. I would like to see the data of where all the boats are going. I know it's going to take a little bit of time and to count them. Let's run on data. Let's not say everything's going to get jammed up. Let's see the data, see what it says. The only other thing I would like to say, the ship channel, it is, because I fish there, there's only a little bit of land stopping us from getting in and a little bit of work to get us out, and there's nobody going through there right now, so maybe that could be looked at as a second option. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
My name is John Shattuck, and I represent my family, and that's it. We've lived here since 1998. Initially, we had a house right at the entrance of Ponce Inlet, and we sold that a year ago, and now we live in those ugly green buildings on the harbor on Jamaica Way, which are being painted a different color. Anyway, obviously, I have no benefit to me from here. However, I live in this community, and I have benefited from it from years. You have a policy statement that we want to be a leading waterfront community. This is a step that moves in that direction very eloquently, and you need to do that. I'm also convinced that if we do this, all boats will rise. Yes, they will rise higher in the Burnt Store, in the Burnt section, than in other areas, but they will all rise, and I frankly would be willing to have a tiered system to pay for this and be a part of it, even though I will not benefit it one iota from where I now reside. We have a prize here. We have a prize. We have so many miles of navigable canals. We have a harbor that is too shallow for commercial traffic, which makes it perfect for us. There's very few places in Florida and the United States that match this. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with trying to maximize the beauty of the use of this for boaters. We are a boating community. We have no beaches. Thank heavens we have no beaches. That gives us all kinds of traffic gridlock. Let's maximize our potential. Now, Howard talked about when we build out this place. When we build out this place, this will not be enough. We'll even need more. And perhaps at that time, the barge canal will be something that needs to be looked at. So let's get on with it. My hope is to you, the City Council, embrace this, take a hold of it, take sponsorship of it, and go for it. Thank you. One more brief note, Howard. I read in the paper something a couple weeks ago that scared the heck out of me. Don't ever do that again. We love you. We need you here.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Rick Fontana. I represent myself and my wife. In 1996, I spent about 3 hours with a realtor running around Punta Gorda and the Isles, and was fascinated that if you went here, it was that price, and if you went over here, it was 30 minutes longer, it was that price, and couldn't figure out, boy, somebody had the vision to build this place, but they didn't have a whole lot of access. It seemed kind of unusual, but we love it here, and we overlooked a lot of that. But two gentlemen, from my understanding, had the vision decades ago to develop the Isles. And I venture to guess that there's a good chance back then it was worthless marshland. But they had a vision. And to me, that's what I'm here to talk to you about as a council, is have the vision. Richard Branson said, if you're not a little afraid, your dreams aren't big enough. We're all questioning, and the questions need to be answered. And it's good to be a little afraid, but I think it's something that benefits the entire community. We are out there as the place to be, and most everybody here, I think, would admit, best place to live in America. And even though I'm a part-timer, I love it here. Have the vision, look at it hard, and do what is best for the community, which I think this really is going to be one of the best things to continue to make this the premier community for boating. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Phil Parisi. I represent myself, and I don't object to the project itself, but I object to using La Costa Island Court as the boundary, because it only takes 20 minutes from there to get out. So it's no benefit to anyone on La Costa Island Court to have that cut. And we were already paying $7,000 in taxes, and now they're saying another $1,000. If they're saying another $1,000, we know from past experience, it's going to be $2,000. So it's going to be very expensive, and I don't feel it's worth it to me, considering where I live, you know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Karen Clark, and I represent my husband and myself. And I just wanted to say I'm not particularly pleased with the way that this effort has been conducted. Things like putting notices in the mail on people's doors who live in the bird section, but not in any other areas. So it comes across, even though you weren't trying to cause dissension, it comes across that that's what it was. I would urge City Council to not spend funds on this project until all the residents of PGI have been polled properly to decide or to determine if this is something that the majority of people people in PGI do want. As Bob Stevens stated earlier, not everyone in PGI is in favor of the project. I don't personally have a problem with the cut-through going through. Granted, I don't want to pay for it because I'm in a very close area to Ponce, but I wonder, I don't know if the questions have been answered about long-term maintenance, paying into an MBSU of some sort. I just would like to hear more about all of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Cindy O'Hara, representing myself. I'm a Realtor and a former elected public official from another state, so I couldn't resist to speak up. I've lived in PGI for 19 years, and I've been around real estate investing all my life. I think it's a great project. I'm in support of it. I am concerned about those people that bought in the prime areas, and that was and has been a selling point by realtors for many, many years. So I have compassion towards those investors. And I think there's ways around that. Maybe my analysis is incorrect, but the way I see it is ultimately, yes, there will be a rush into the bird section. You got new homes, you got quick access. But down the road, it's just going to build up PGI and make it a more desirable boating community. I've sold all over the place. I don't just stick to one region. I listed and sold 2 houses in the Florida Keys last year. I go up to Sarasota, Venice, Cape Coral, Fort Myers, and this is a unique place. So ultimately, people are going to say, well, it is still going to be prime over in Section 2 and so forth, because you got Fisherman's Village right there. You're right on the harbor. I mean, it's going to be more of an incentive to get rid of the older houses and build new, if that's what people want. And, you know, we have had incentives in the past in the historical section to bring the houses up and so forth, and maybe something like that could be offered, but just my opinion.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm Tom Hamilton. Lived in Punta Gorda for about 16 years. And over that period of time, I've been off and on a member of the county's Marine Advisory Committee and had the opportunity to see innumerable projects come through that committee over that 16 years. I've yet to see a large project of this size come through and actually go through the design and the approval process through all the regulatory processes in less than 5 years. Okay, so I think you're probably looking, once you actually get this project through some kind of approval process and get behind it, you're still looking at about 5 years to actually see the project get to the point that you can actually go out for bids on the project. You also see probably at that point in time, as the county recently ran into when they went out for bids on their entrance project, the harbor project across the harbor, they saw about a 20% increase in price. Okay, so I think you're looking at, you know, once you go out and start working this project, you're looking at about 5 years to actually get the project approved, and you may be looking at about an additional 20% in your final cost. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Madam Mayor, Council, my name's Jerry Fallon. I live on Coral Way. I have a lot in the bird section on Turtle Live. I would vote in favor of this proposal, and I would vote to tax myself to be a part of it. We are a boating community, and this proposal would basically double the ingress-egress to that portion of PGI. I would stand, we would certainly all benefit from just the infrastructure itself. I would ask you to please give me the opportunity to vote as to whether we would proceed. I would ask you then, obviously I think it's going to pass. I also would ask you to expedite the permitting process Mr. Wilson's proposal as far as the environmental impacts and mitigation, seem to me are very well balanced, but the sooner the better, like the previous speaker just said. I have a little bit of an experience in a very different ecosystem with a critter called the Preble's jumping mouse. And it takes years, so please, the sooner the better. As far as the cost, when you get the general obligation bond, I think if you were to go ahead and spread out the payments to a 5 or 7 year assessment period, that would certainly ease, as well as look at the special taxing district to see if you can dilute it some. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Coons. I live on Bal Harbor Boulevard in one of the condo complexes. I am here representing myself tonight, although many of you know me through my professional involvement in the community. My first question to the council would be, perhaps you should look at a public-private partnership under Florida law to help finance this. It seems like there's a lot of people who are not necessarily in these benefiting parcels, but who have contributed a large number of resources to have this engineering study by Hans, and I thank him for doing so. It was very informative, renting out this facility tonight, and perhaps that could be a way to help underwrite and fund this project. I know there are some concerns been expressed tonight about the overall cost. Second, I would like to hear more on the financing bonds, too, and how that plans to be laid out. Another question I have that I hope would be addressed at some point is, we're talking about creating a special taxing district within Punta Gorda Isles in the bird section. What, if any, precedent is there within our community? And by doing this, are creating a new precedent that could possibly expose citizens to future special assessment districts for municipal projects or other public works? Last thing I'd like to do, based on what was done earlier tonight, if you live in the benefiting parcels, may I please ask those people to stand? I think it's important City Council see how many of us came out tonight who live in this, because we're very interested in how this project goes forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Wilson. I'm here to support my family and myself, or represent, I should say. So I'm somebody who doesn't directly benefit from this project, but I do live in the Isles, and wouldn't mind supporting this financially. I use the tennis courts, I use the bike paths, and by association, by the two other individuals in my family who live in the bird section, by association, I win. So I'm here to support it and wouldn't mind paying for it.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Todd Cassetta. I live at 4321 Pelican Point Drive in Punta Gorda, and I'm addressing you for a very simple reason. I don't see there's many disadvantages to the city for this project. What I do see is a tremendous disadvantage to the people that are currently using the Alligator Creek and not in the city. I'm also very surprised and disappointed that no one has mentioned anything about the people other than the people in the city. Yes, there will be advantages for them. There will be zero advantages for the people that live in the county, not in the city, and currently using the Alligator Creek. All of the property gains that in value that the people in the bird section will get by reducing their time out will come on the backs of the people who are currently using the Alligator Creek, simply because the amount of time that is gained by PGI will be lost by the people using the Alligator Creek. So all of the advantages and the monetary values come from everyone else that is using the creek. There's no question that all of those 1,500 boats, or possible 1,500 boats, will force a reduction in speed, just as Ponce has been, all the way through that entire canal, and it will be out to the open water, adding at least 10 minutes each way on my trip every day. So not only is the time gained by PGI, it is lost by us currently using and paying for the Alligator Creek. I am adamantly opposed to this project. I have a number of friends in PGI in the bird section, and I'm really very disappointed that not one of them has considered the fact that we will be damaged. They're only, and I've only heard here, all of the people speaking about the gains for PGI. I find it absolutely appalling that nobody's even given, and the rest of the people in the county, any consideration whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Robert Dunbar. I live on Turtle Dove Boulevard in Punta Gorda, representing myself and my wife. My problem with it is I don't really gain much, even though I live in the bird section. When I bought, I knew it was 45 minutes out, but I plotted this out today on the chart, and it's probably still 35 minutes. So I gained 10 minutes. I don't think it's worth it. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else? We are now at 5 minutes after 7. Anyone else? One more, okay.
Two more.
Two more, all right. The gentleman to my right. Yes, sir.
Am I up?
Yes, you are.
Good evening to all. My name is Bill Gunther, and I'm going to change the subject just a little bit, if you don't mind. I've never heard so many accolades about our community as I've heard tonight, and it really warms my heart, because we are a unique community. As I said, my name is Bill Gunther. I am the coordinator and the originator of the Punta Gorda Isles Neighborhood Marine Watch Group. This group
Yes,
of
thank you, sir.
This group of 80 volunteers is unique in that there is no other organization like this in Southwest Florida. At 2 o'clock in the morning, when we're all sleeping nice in our beds, the volunteer members are out turning up their boats, pouring that cup of coffee and heading out. There's already 9 inlets to our community. One more is not going to hurt anything. I'll just put 2 more guys out. Thank you.
Bill, thank you, and thanks so much to all the volunteers who participate. Thank you. Yes, sir.
As a member of that neighborhood Marine Watch, my hat's off to you, Bill, for creating it. You're a hell of a guy.
Oh.
The community's proud of you. Just real quick, we're all talking about ourselves paying for it. Hell, if you want a check, I'll give you one tonight. But there's also a whole lot of commercial establishments in this area, thinking of the boat dealers, thinking of the bait shops, thinking of the marine community, thinking about places like that benefit, like Fisherman's Village, whatever. I think that should be an area of financial input that we could tap to help this project along and to get their support. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will have council member comments.
Oh, thanks.
Would you like to?
Sure. We signed you in as Santa, but I did look up your name, so we have you on record. I would just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I think it was a really healthy, helpful discussion for me personally, because I do not live in the affected area, so I think I got a very good idea of the sentiments of both sides of the issue. So I just want to thank everybody for coming out. It was very helpful, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Now, if you want to come to our council meetings, you should come, because we never do get crowds like this. But I'm sure when this issue starts moving forward, be on the lookout for when we will be hearing different agenda items to have to do with what's going to transpire in the future. Be aware of that. If you're not on our weekly highlight report list, any one of us has a list I encourage you to send us an email, and we will gladly put you on that. And every Friday, you will get a weekly highlight report, and it summarizes what's happened in council and what's happening in the city as a whole in every department. So I would encourage you to stay tuned, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Rachel. Tom?
Sure. I would just like to say, for such a controversial topic tonight, I would like to thank you all for keeping your comments to 3 minutes or less. I think it was wonderful. You've given us a lot of food for thought. You've given us a lot of challenges to deal with, and I think we're all up to the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you.
I too would like to ditto what Rachel said. I live in downtown Punta Gorda, so it was really helpful for me to listen to all of you and to listen to both sides of this, and I really appreciate you all coming out to share your opinions with us. Thank you.
Nancy?
Yes, as a resident of Burnstore Isles and a user of Alligator Creek, I truly appreciate the issues that were raised relative to Alligator Creek. I had a list of issues, and those have been brought up by people tonight. So I really appreciate that. I think it will help us have a balanced dialogue as we move forward, so that if and when this does come to fruition, it can be a solution that we can address all of the issues that are out there. So thank you, and thank you for being here.
And thank you for turning off your phone. This is one of the things that we thought we would do, would be able to provide a summary. But after you heard all the issues tonight, I'm not sure that that's even possible with all of the issues that were identified. We have issues related to lessening the pressure on Ponce de Leon, relieving congestion. We have safety possibilities. Again, better, quicker access to the harbor and the Gulf. There are differences of opinion with regards to tides, so there again are questions that need to be answered there. The improvement of the waters themselves for our fish and wildlife. Land value, again, increases, decreases. We heard a lot about, as one area rises, all areas rise. I didn't think I heard anything about reduced fuel costs for boats this evening, but that is obviously a benefit for anyone that might be having easier access. The issue of who's going to pay, and again, this council will be looking at a lot of different options. I think the mentioning of having the population vote, I think, is very much high on our list, although we haven't had a chance to necessarily talk about it. It's something that we will be considering, I'm sure. So who is voting? Who is paying? How is that payment going to be made? There are grants available. There are other options. I like the idea also of commercial possibilities. So there's so many issues that we are going to be addressing, and I have faith in our staff to help us define step by step what we will do in order to determine if we move forward, and then if we plan to move forward, what are the steps to do that? And you will be kept informed. We've had notices in the newspaper. Obviously, we put things out on our website and in our weekly reports about this particular meeting. So there are obviously ways to keep informed. Please do that. Let us know if you're not on one of our email lists. We'll all send out weekly reports. We would love to keep you informed. Howard, did you have something that you wanted to raise in terms of any summary issues?
I've got over 3 pages of questions to answer. We'll be working. You're putting us to work again.
And Howard loves it. Thank you all for coming. It has been our pleasure to be here and again to hear you. We've gotten an awful lot of emails, pro, con, for, against, etc. But this has been very, very helpful. So thank you. Keep sending the emails. Give us some new ideas. We welcome them.